Hello and welcome to CineRecap. Today we're diving into an action thriller movie, Death Race 2008. Starring Jason Statham, an ex-convict and former industrial worker who was framed for the murder of his wife. Be warned, spoilers lie ahead. The story kicks off with Mason Holt, an industrial worker and ex-convict. Learning the factory where he works is closing, shortchanging workers' pay. This sparks outrage, with employees protesting outside. As tensions rise, anti-riot police show up, cracking down hard on any defiance. When Mason sees his co-workers getting pummeled, he jumps in, taking down several officers in the fray. Come on, come on! By the time Mason gets home, it's dark. He greets his wife, then heads upstairs to check on their baby, unaware a masked intruder has slipped inside. While Mason's upstairs, the thug seizes the moment to kill his wife in the kitchen. When Mason returns downstairs, the intruder ambushes him, knocking him out cold. Before fleeing, the killer plants the murder weapon in Mason's hand, mocking him with a taunting shooting gesture using his gloved hand. He's framed Mason for the crime and vanished by the time police arrive. Mason wakes to find cops arresting him for his wife's murder. 6 months later, Mason is sent to Black Rock Island prison. On arrival, guard Dietrich hoses him with icy water and lets another officer rough him up. Then Dietrich leads Mason to a cell with 3 inmates ready to pounce. But when Dietrich returns, expecting a beaten Mason, he finds Mason's a tough fighter who's already floored his cellmates. The next morning, Mason hits the mess hall for breakfast, quietly watched by prisoners, Mentor, Trigger, and Scribe, who know him as a former racing champ whose career crashed in disaster. The mood shifts when 2 inmates, Vargo and his buddy, approach Mason, provoking him by spitting on his tray and taunting him as a wife killer and child abuser. Mason snaps, lunging at Vargo, but guards step in, dragging him to meet Warden Vance, the prison warden. In her office, Vance reveals she knows Mason's past as an elite driver. She offers a deal: take on the role of Phantom, the masked racer in Death Run. The real Phantom died after his last race, but the public doesn't know. His iconic status makes it easy to slip someone else into his mask. Vance needs Phantom's legend to boost the show's ratings since his death. She explains that a driver earns freedom after 5 race wins. Since Phantom had 4, Mason needs just 1 more to walk free. Despite the lure of freedom, Mason hesitates. Racing to the death isn't a light choice. But Vance won't take no, threatening solitary to keep her secret safe. Mason has no option but to agree. Mason is then taken to the prison's garage, meeting Mentor and his crew, the mechanics behind Phantom's car. They lay out the rules: teams work alone, no helping others. Mason notices a sealed workshop where Vance has been building something secret for weeks, known only to Mentor's team and a few guards. Vance's iron grip on the prison keeps her plan secure. Mentor shows Mason his car, a souped-up Charger V8 packed with attack and defense gear, but ammo stays unloaded until race day to block escape attempts. Mentor warns Mason that escaping this island prison is impossible, with its single bridge swarmed by police and choppers at any breakout sign. After checking the car, Mason joins a team in the prison yard to talk more. Mentor explains the race is 3 stages. The first 2 focus on wiping out rivals, while the final stage is all about speed to the finish line. Each driver gets a navigator, usually a woman from the women's prison, except for Rex, who uses a crew member instead, notorious for cycling through female navigators, so fast it unsettles even the crowd. Scribe briefs Mason on key racers in the yard: 9K, a syndicate member with a tech degree; Victor Shade, a deranged fan of Vance; Marco Vachenko, a gang leader; and Bryce Talon, a fallen ex-racing star. Their talk is cut short when Rex and his crew confront Mason, throwing insults and declaring the race a duel between Rex and Phantom. Just then, a van returns inmates from a worksite. Mason spots GPS tracking bracelets on their wrists, triggering a memory. The man who killed his wife wore one too. The first race stage arrives. Mason dons Phantom's clothes, mask, and ring, his appearance alone reviving the show's lost viewers. Mentor advises Mason to stay silent to preserve Phantom's mystique, though he can unmask in the car, as its mirrored windows hide him, and his navigator Riley knows the secret. As they prep, Mason asks Riley why she's in prison. She admits killing her abusive cop husband. Their chat ends as the race starts. The first lap stays non-lethal, with weapons locked until lap 2. Still, drivers ram each other off the track. With Riley's course knowledge, Mason keeps pace with Rex at the front. Dog left, 100 feet. Riley spots a shortcut, guiding Mason to take the lead. On lap 2, Vance activates weapons and shields. Swords and shields now. Drivers hit special manholes to arm their gadgets, and chaos erupts as the race becomes a war zone. Vance raises the stakes with death traps, deadly obstacles on the track. Shade uses one to crush a minor driver's car, then sprays oil at Rex, slowing him down. But 9K fires a missile, forcing Shade to crash. Rex finishes Shade by running him over. Mason activates his weapons, but his machine gun jams. Riley climbs onto the hood to fix it, drawing gunfire from rivals. Mason's sharp driving dodges the bullets, and Riley slides back inside. As the race heats up, Mason steals a defense manhole from Talon, but, like the real Phantom, his defenses fail. Bullets shred his rear shield. Thinking fast, Mason tells Riley to unhook the napalm canister and sit on his lap. He ejects her seat loaded with napalm straight at Talon's car. Riley tosses the car's lighter, igniting the napalm and torching Talon's vehicle. With Talon out, Mason faces Rex head-on. Suddenly, Mason spots Vachenko making the same taunting hand gesture as his wife's killer. Distracted, Mason loses focus, and Rex slams his car, dropping him to last place while Vachenko takes first. By the race's end, 3 drivers are dead, leaving 6 for the next stage. Back at the garage, Mentor's team checks the car, finding no gadget issues, puzzled by the failures. Frustrated, Mason confronts Vance, accusing her of framing him for his wife's murder, rigging the race, and using Vachenko to bait him into playing Phantom. Vance doesn't admit it, but threatens him with a photo of his daughter in foster care, reminding him to comply if he wants her back. Powerless, Mason returns to the yard and talks with Mentor, asking why he lacks a prisoner number. Mentor reveals he earned parole 3 years ago, but stayed, as the outside world felt too alien, and he loves the prison's races. Mentor also says he doesn't believe Mason killed his wife. That evening, while working on his car, Mason sees Vachenko pass by and tails him to his team's pit. Vachenko's men ambush Mason, and Vachenko lands, punches, before grabbing a heavy tool to crush Mason's skull. Knowing Vance protects him, but Scribe stabs Vachenko in the back with a pen. Mason grabs a metal rod, stabs one of Vachenko's men, and knocks out the rest. He pummels Vachenko, slamming him into equipment and crates. Vachenko confesses Vance ordered him to kill Mason's wife, with Dietrich delivering him to the house. As Mason prepares a final blow, Dietrich and a guard break up the fight, pulling Mason away. The next day, before the second stage, Vachenko taunts Mason again with the killer's hand gesture. When the race starts, Mason drives slowly, taking a tunnel to talk privately with Riley. He accuses her of killing the real Phantom, pointing to the gadget failures in 2 races. When she hesitates, Mason threatens to eject her unless she's honest. Riley admits sabotaging Phantom's rear weapons on Vance's orders, lured by a promise of freedom. She insists Phantom's death was an accident from his desperate bid to win without working weapons. Vance wanted Phantom to lose to keep him racing for ratings. With his suspicions confirmed, Mason speeds back into the race, ignoring Rex to target Vachenko. They clash repeatedly, trying to force each other off, but neither budges. Mason then hits a weapons manhole instead of a defense one, confusing everyone since his weapons are front-mounted. He spins the car, driving backward, and unloads gunfire on Vachenko's vehicle. Once it's crippled, Mason releases a smokescreen, making Vachenko crash into a concrete barrier. Mason stops, steps out, and snaps Vachenko's neck, avenging his wife. Meanwhile, Rex swaps his navigator mid-race. Vance unveils her secret weapon, a massive armed tanker truck called Titan. It tears through the track, obliterating 2 minor drivers. Its size and firepower, plus access to building shortcuts, make it unstoppable. Titan targets 9K's navigator, torturing him with chains before blasting his car to flames. With only Mason and Rex left, winning seems impossible. Mason asks Scribe to patch his communicator to Rex's car. They form an alliance, flanking Titan and dodging its attacks. Hitting a trapped manhole with 2 wheels, they lure Titan into crashing into it, disabling it. The second stage ends with only Mason and Rex advancing. That evening, Rex visits Mason in the pit, noting his voice sounds like Phantom's. Meanwhile, Vance and Dietrich plot to eliminate Mason in the final stage. The next day before the final race, Dietrich plants a bomb under Mason's car, while Vance distracts with a speech about racing as their purpose, hinting this could be the first 5-win freedom. Mason realizes Vance rigs races to kill anyone nearing a 5th win. No one's ever reached it due to her sabotage. Mentor, overhearing, shows Mason video of Shade's death, sparking an idea. Mason asks Scribe to add a half-gallon reserve tank to his car and proposes a plan to Rex. As Mason dons Phantom's gear, Vance visits with release papers and a new deal. If he wins, she wants him to stay as Phantom for the legacy. She claims an ex-con like him can't give his daughter a good life, and racing is a selfless act. Mason pockets the papers silently. Riley reveals Vance asked her to stop Mason from winning. Mason isn't fazed. When the race starts, Dietrich manipulates manholes, activating them only for Rex, then fires on Mason, wrecking his rear shield until it's dropped. Rex, knowing Phantom's tricks, dodges attacks. Vance activates a defense manhole for Mason, but Rex destroys it with a rocket. Rex keeps firing rockets, but Mason dodges, letting them hit a wall, a weak spot from Shade's death. Mason and Rex plan this. The rockets blast a hole big enough for escape. Instead of racing to win, they break free from Vance's system. Furious, Vance cuts the stream and sends cops after them, triggering the bomb under Mason's car. But Mentor's team removed it. Mason and Rex race to the bridge, dropping the reserve tank to explode, creating a fiery wall to block police. They split onto separate roads to confuse helicopters targeting Mason. Riley, owing Phantom, helps with the final plan. With her release papers secured, she's confident she'll be freed. Driving past construction cranes, Mason leaps off, hiding in their shadows. Riley takes the wheel, wearing Phantom's clothes and mask, and stops when helicopters force her with a firewall. Posing as Phantom, she surrenders, fooling everyone. Riley is arrested, while Mason escapes, meeting Rex to board a train, leaving the chaos behind. In the prison offices, Dietrich sees ratings soar with congratulatory gifts arriving. He opens a box containing the bomb he planted, which Mentor detonates, killing Dietrich in Vance. 6 months later, Mason and Rex settle in Puerto Verde, Mexico, running an auto shop together. Mason has custody of his daughter, and life feels right. Riley, freed with her papers, visits, bringing a race car for them to check out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video. See you next time.